Guys, what if I told you that you can get access to the most powerful model from Google, which is Gemini 2.5 Pro, absolutely for free? Yes, what you just heard is absolutely true. Recently, Google launched Gemini CLI, and in this video, we will be going with the installation of Gemini CLI. Once we install it, we will be setting it up, and then we will be using it to generate code or build our applications. So without getting delayed, let's get started with the video. So this is the blog from Google regarding the Gemini CLI. As you can see, they actually gave us a limit to use it completely for free, but like this is a very high limit so that this won't be a problem as well. So you would be getting 60 model requests per minute, and also you would be getting 1k model requests per day, and this is completely open source. So this is something like, if you have heard about the Claude Code, like you can consider this as a competitor for Claude Code, which is going to be exactly as similar to Claude Code, and this is going to be on the terminal itself. So the CLI here stands for command line interface, which we will be using in order to generate applications, or in order to interact. We will be using command line instead of the traditional GUI, which is graphical user interface. We will be using CLI, which is command line interface. So now let's actually go with the installation of the Gemini CLI. I'll leave a link in the description. If you just click on that link, you will be coming to this particular GitHub page. So this is, I told you that the Gemini CLI is open source, right? So open source in the sense like you will be able to access the code of it, or if you want to make any modifications to it, you can like directly make modifications and try to use it. Like if you check with the VS Code is also open source. So what, like if you check with the companies like Cursor, Windsurf, what they have done was they have actually forked the VS Code and then made like added their AI agents or added their prompting window on the right side, and then they have launched their own application, right? If you want to make any changes and use it, then that's okay, you can do that. But in this video, let's just set it up and then start using it. So if you just scroll down, you will have the quick start guide where you can download the Gemini CLI on your computer. So the prerequisites here are going to be, you just need to have the node installed. If you don't have the node.js installed, just head over to nodejs.org. I'll leave a link in the description as well. You can just download it to your operating system. Once that is done, you just have to copy this particular command here, which is, before installing, I just want to tell you one more thing. So you can see that they mentioned that you use a Gemini API key, right? So you'll be asking me that this is completely free, so why is it like this? So I have showed you the limit of using it, right? So yeah, which is 60 model requests per minute and 1k model requests per day. So if you want to exceed that, like if you want even more credits or even more requests than those, then you have to head over to Google AI Studio and then use your own API key. In that case, it would be costing, like you will have to pay the credits for the use of the Gemini CLI. So these credits or these limits are more than enough, I would feel. So if you want to actually use it more than these credits, then you have to follow this approach, which is to head over to Google AI Studio and then try to create a Gemini API key and then use it in your application or the CLI. And also let's see what Gemini CLI can do. If you have used Cursor or Windsurf before, you will actually have the idea of what this actually is going to do. But so let's just understand what are the capabilities of the Gemini CLI. So the context window is actually 1 million tokens, which is really good. And you can also use the MCP servers to actually connect with recent models that they have launched, like the VEO3 or the Imagen 4 that they have recently launched. And this actually has a Google search tool, which means if I just click on it, you will have the understanding of how this actually works. If I just scroll down a bit, you will have this picture here. So let's say whenever you try to ask a question, which is who won the Euro 2024, what this is going to do is this is going to be sent to the Gemini model, right? So it is going to decide whether do I have to search it online to get the results of it, or can I directly answer to the user. If it feels that it has to search online, then it is going to search online with the Google search tool that it has. Like it is going to search the web, and based on the results that it get, it is going to give us the answer. This is actually there in the Gemini CLI. So with all the theory that we have done, let's just get ahead with the practical implementation. So I'll just try to copy the command, just create a folder, and then once you are in that particular folder, open the terminal. So as you can see, I'm now in my terminal. Just try to paste the command that we have copied and click on enter. And now this is going to download the Gemini CLI, and it says, okay, so press Y to proceed. As you can see, we have now successfully downloaded it. So I think we need to do a basic setup here. Let's just try to select a theme. I'll be going with the autumn one. And then, okay, so the authentication method here, we have three options. The first one is you can like directly log in with Google, which is the simplest option. And the second option here is using the Gemini API key. Like I have told you before, you can like go ahead to Google AI Studio and then grab an API key there, right? You can use that method. And then the third method is using the Vertex AI. So the simplest one is going to be logging in with Google, and I am going to do the same as well. So I just logged in with Google, and it's now completely ready. We can like go ahead and use it to generate applications or generate code. So as you can see, we have some basic details here. So we have the folder or the file path over here, so that you will be able to understand where your files are actually getting stored. And then the next thing here is going to be the model that we are using, which is Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is the latest model and the most intelligent model from the Gemini family. And as I have told you that we have 1 million context window, right? So you will be able to see how much context you have used, as we haven't started with it. So the context left is 100%. So let me just go ahead and interact with it. Let's see how it works. Okay, so it's actually working. And now let's try to create a basic application. Like, so I have found out this API online. Like I just searched for some APIs without any authentication to just test it out. So I have found this API which gives the information of the country if we just give it the country name. So I mean, this is just a basic the thing that I just want to implement with the CLI. So we have this endpoint called full name, which is just going to give us some information about the country if we just give it the country name. So let me just try to copy this particular URL, and I just pasted it here. So as you can see, the country that like the default it's selected is Arbua. I mean, I just don't know where the country is, but yeah, this is the response that we would be getting whenever we try to make a call to this particular endpoint. So whenever you try to build any sort of applications using integrating with the APIs, then you have to make sure that you have to give the documentation of it, and you have to give the endpoint of the API, and also you have to give the response of how you would be getting like the JSON response to the AI model, so that it can actually parse. If it has the response structure, it can parse, or else if it's not a popular API and if it doesn't know the structure of it, then the model is going to start hallucinating and just coming up with some random JSON responses or JSON parsing. So if you just want to avoid it, just try to get the response of the particular API endpoint and try to give it to the AI model. Okay, so I just created a basic prompt here. So create a web page where I'll be getting the information about the country using the API. So the API endpoint is going to be this particular endpoint, and I'll also mention that the parameter is the name. Okay, so if I like so the parameter is going to be the country name that we would be passing, which is just going to go over here. So yeah, that's the prompt. Like it's a very basic one. So create a web page where I'll be getting the information about the country using the API. The API endpoint is this one, which I have got it from here. And the next thing is the response of the API is this particular response, which I have got when I made the API call. So this is the basic prompt that would complete our work. So let me just copy this. So I have pasted the entire prompt here. So like you can't like see the complete prompt, but yeah. So this is the prompt. I'll just click on enter. Let's see whether this is going to completely build the application in the first go itself. Let's see if it's gonna complete or if it's gonna come up with some errors. So it's now came up with a response which says it is now going to create a new directory called country info app, and it is going to use HTML, CSS and JS, and it is going to create 3 files, and it is actually asking us to allow the execution of creating the directory. So I'll just allow it once, and I mean, in order to create the directory, it has to use the terminal, right? So that's the reason it's asking us for the permission. So like it came up with an error which says file path must be absolute, and it's now going to create the file in the current working directory. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, it came up with the HTML code. Let me just try to go ahead and save it. and we have now the CSS code for it. Let me just save that again. Or else if you don't want to manually save it every time, you can just select the allow every time, which is, I'll just show you now where to select that. Like I have selected it to only allow it once, so that's the reason it's asking me again and again to actually give the permission. So it came up with an error which says unexpected line format in response. What does that mean? Okay, let's just ask it what is the error. Okay, I just actually confirmed that. It came up with some response, and it was like, I'll now create the script.js file. Okay, now it created the JS as well, and I have told you to actually, there is an option to select it, right? So there are 4 options here, which is allow once, which you will have to allow it every time whenever there is a change that is needed to be made. And if we go ahead and click on allow always, then this is now going to automatically create the files, and you just don't have to actually give it the permission every time. And now it says I have created all the necessary files. You can go to index.html. So yeah, it created a directory, and then we have 3 files. Let me just open this. Yeah, we have a basic UI. Let's just try to enter the same name. Like we'll just check with it. Let me just try to enter the same name here, and let me just, okay, so we got the details. Okay, I'll just go ahead and enter India now. Let me just, okay, so yeah, we are getting the details. And now let's just try to ask it to make the UI a bit better. Like this is too basic, right? Let's just ask it to make the UI. When you are actually trying to give out the prompts to make the UI better or UX better or whatever it may be, so the right and the perfect way to actually ask it is to provide some of the references or some of the examples. As of now, I'm just gonna ask it a basic modification. Okay, I just gave it a basic prompt to actually see whether this is gonna make it or not. I think it is going to come up with a better style, but I'm sure it can't come up with a very fantastic or a mind-blowing one, because I did not give any context to it. So yeah, if you are actually trying to build out UIs or taking out some references, or if you have anything in your mind too specific, like what colors to use, what's the font, what's the style that you want, if you have all those things, if you give it to the model, then it's gonna create a better version, like a very, very better version. So as of now, I just gave it a basic thing. Okay, it says I have updated the application to a cleaner and a modern look. Okay, let's see. I'll just okay, so it just came up with a bit better UI. Okay, we now have all these separated in divs, I guess. Yeah, so yeah, this is how you can actually try to go ahead and install and run it on your own machine. And as I have told you, you have a limit of using it for free, but these limits are, I guess, more than enough for us. And to just sum up with the process, you just have to need the Node.js installed on your computer, and the next thing is just have to copy this and then paste it on your terminal and run it. And once you have it, just try to authenticate with Google with the following 3 steps, and then yeah, that is done. So you can go ahead and use it. If you have any questions, or if you want to discuss this with the same like-minded people who are building these applications, join our community. And if you also have any questions, I'll be there as well. I'll be happy to help you out. I'll leave the link in the description. It's completely free to join. That is it for the video. I hope you found this video helpful. If you find it helpful, just give it a like, and I'll see you in the next one.